Milwaukee's got a lot of chargers, but this may be their best one yet. Maybe best charger is not the correct term for some of you, but I would say it's got to be the most versatile charger thus far, especially when you're wanting to do a lot of work, meaning you have a lot of tools that you're using in both the M18 and the M12 platform. Let's dive in and take a closer look. This is part of the beauty of this charger and the versatility of this charger. Number one, we have magnets on the back, very strong magnets that are going to hold this, no problem with putting your batteries on, sliding them on and charging them. It's not going to move all over the place, and that's on a vertical wall. It's also got enough to hold it on an upside down or more of a horizontal surface upside down as well. Also, to release these magnets, have little levers here also make it really easy to do so. Now let's take a look inside the knack box, or your job site box, or gang box, whatever you want to call this. There's several different varieties of gang boxes or job site boxes. Like this one here, it's got the enclosable kind of cubby section right there, so we can put it on the face of that, or we could leave it down right there and stay kind of on the bottom side of that while we still have this area to work, make our invoices, plan out the day, what have you. We could also put it down here at the underside of that shelf as well. It also has hanging hooks to hang on this lip. However, when you have this locking device right here, it's basically going to pretty much split the difference of the length of your job site box if it's this dimension, and this is going to get in the way. So if you do have that lock, then basically you can't use the lip here to hang this on, because you see how much we're going to take as far as real estate in doing that. So we can still use the magnets, and we still have access to our light here, or we can mount it under here. And obviously with our light, we also have the USB ports, which is great for charging your lights, accessories, phones, tablets, whatever it is. Now let's take a look here and see what we get in the box and how we get it in the box. Pretty uneventful. There you have it. This is the Milwaukee Gangbox charger, and the model number is the 48-59-1804. As we saw it sitting in the Gangbox, several different ways that we can mount this. So you see here on the back, this is part of the versatility of this system that actually makes it very cool, even down to being able to route your charging wire here in this kind of a raceway, if you will, to clean up the charging cord if that bothers you. It does us, so we really like that. Keyholes here for hanging. Also, these little tabs here as we show for kind of hanging off the front of the shelf. Then the magnets. And that's part of the beauty of this one, I believe, is the magnets, because I think it's far more than just your gang boxes. Which, let's talk about the magnets, sorry, and then I'll get back into the talking about the different options we have here. So we even have smaller magnets here, so when it is hanging on these tabs here, if it is on that metal lip, then it's still going to have a little bit of power to kind of hold it against it, not just hanging there. But releasing these magnets here, these are pretty strong magnets that are going to hold this either upside down or up against a vertical surface. To break those free, you don't have to just reach in here and grab. You just reach in here and you grab this little handle here on both sides, and that uses as a little leverage to just kind of, break that free of that magnetic force, and then you can easily pull this off. So, just those little touches like that make that a lot easier to remove those, especially if you're reaching in, trying to pull it off the, off the ceiling surface, or having to reach around. You're not having to really use a lot of pull. You just, a little bit of leverage, and that breaks that free. Now, this is a rapid charger, meaning it's not a supercharger status. It's still going to charge very quickly, and it's going to charge multiple batteries at the same time. But again, it's not the speed of a supercharger. If we take a look here at the label, a lot of times this will tell us all the details that we need to know. And that is, here we have input of 120 volts at 60 hertz at 2.8 amps. So that's telling us how many watts do we have coming in, so that then we can disperse it going out. Now, we do have some conversion of AC to DC, so you're going to lose some efficiency there. Also, we're going from 120 volts down to 12 volts and 18 volts. So you can't just look at voltage. You have to look at voltage and amperage, which then converts to watts. And very simple calculation there. Volts times amps equals your watts. So if we were to take 120 volts and we multiply that times our 2.8 amps, this is 0, this is 16, carry the 1, and this is a 9, so 960, and then we have obviously 240. So that gives us 3360, but we have a decimal there, so we need to move that decimal in, which gives us 336 watts. Now, if we'll also take a deeper look at that tag, it also tells us they've already split up that wattage as to which banks it goes to. In other words, the 18 volt side as well as the 12 volt side. Hey, is this a charger for you, or do you like a different Milwaukee charger? Let us know in the comments what's your favorite. So if we look at the individual ports, or not the individual ports, but as far as the M18 side as well as the 12 volt side, we get 18 volts at 6 amps. We get 12 volts at 4.5 amps, and that's going to equal 108. That's going to equal 54. And then we get 5 volts for the USB Type-C at 3 amps, which is going to equal 15. And those are all watts. Now, if you combine those, that's only 177. And if you doubled those, because we know that it's going to actually do each port at 15 watts, and I believe each 12 volt side at 54 watts in each, then that's going to give us 354 watts, which is more than our 336 watts that we originally said was coming in. Now, we know we can't have a greater output than input, especially when we're probably going to lose some efficiency as well on that AC to DC conversion. But we got to think a little bit deeper here. So let me explain. So here's how we need to look at this. Let's split this charger right down the middle, and let's call this bank 1, forgive my writing here, and bank 2. And here's what happens. This charger will charge 2 batteries simultaneously. Now, how it's going to do that, it's going to charge 1 battery from this side, 1 battery from this side at the same time. So if I had 2 M18 batteries, well, look at there, there's an M18 battery. And if I had another M18 battery, and I went there, it's going to charge both of those at the same time. If I pull this up here, we see we get a solid red light right here, a solid red light right here, tells us that is actually charging those batteries at the same time. Now, we still have M12 ports open over here. Let me go ahead and throw an M12 battery in here, and I'll throw an M12 battery over here. Now we see these red lights are flashing. These are not charging right now. They are in a waiting state. So whether we had M18s right here, which if you notice, we cannot have an M18 in this bay or in this port if we already have an M12 battery in this port. Whether it's a CP or an XC battery, it's not going to matter. We can't have an M18 in here when we have an M12 in here. So that kind of eliminates having to charge an M18 and an M12 on this same port here, or having 6 batteries. So you can't really load 6 batteries in here. It's impossible to do so, by the way. So you can have 4 M18s, or you can have 2 M18s and 2 M12s at the same time. So you see, again, these are in waiting states. These are actually charging at the same time. Now, if I pulled these off, now you see I've got one charging here, which is the M12, and one charging here, which is the M18. And if I pulled this one off, then again, now just the M12s are charging. So it's going to charge 2 banks at the same time, not 2 on an individual bank. So look at left side, right side, and it's going to do 1 of each on either side. And it's going to be first come, first serve. In other words, if the M12's in there first, it's going to do that first. And then if I slide the M18 on there, it's going to go into its waiting state and wait until this is charged before this starts charging. So if that's the case, then it's only going to charge 1 on this side and 1 on that side. Well, that changes our whole numbers, doesn't it? Because now if I've got a maximum of 108 watts out here and a maximum of 108 watts out here, well, combined, that's only 216 watts, well below our, 336. And even if I added in, you know, two 15-watt cell phones charging at 30 watts, so we're still at 246 watts out total, which again is well below our 336 that we initially talked about coming in. Hopefully all my math is actually mathing. And hopefully I didn't confuse you too much in that explanation. I will say that I wish that just for the sake of being able to load more batteries in, I wish that it had the capability. I don't have a problem with it doing kind of sequential of, you know, doing the, you know, one of each bank and then going to the next. But I wish you could load 6 batteries in there. And then that's just going to be, you know, at the end of the day, you load your batteries in, you turn around, you walk away. When you come back the next morning, you know, everything in your job box or your knack box or your job site box, whatever, gang box, whatever you want to call it, but everything's already ready and charged and ready for you to go. But I still like the versatility of having the M12 and the M18 rapid charger kind of all in one unit, and especially for being able to have the versatility of magnetizing, hanging, whatever you want to do. And let's talk about the little light here on this charger, which is very handy, especially taking into account of where this is most likely going to be, and that is in a job box, in a knack box, in your gang box, up under a shelf, in a vehicle, up under a shelf, in a warehouse, whatever. Just the ability to have in this case, a 450 lumen light, turn it on. You can even angle this wherever you need to. Very handy to have that light and be able to see what's going on. A lot of times you're either staying late after daylight hours or getting early to the job site before daylight hours. Also, a 1 hour time limit on this. So you can turn it on, accidentally leave it on, and it's actually going to go off after an hour and you don't have to worry about it. So very useful addition to the charger. And let's talk about charging times. We're not going to do every single battery that Milwaukee offers, but let's take a look at an HD 12.0 battery. So 18 volts, 12.0 amp hours. If you take your 18 volts and you multiply it times 12, your 12 amps, then that's going to give you your 216 watt hours. So that's the capacity. That's kind of the gas tank, if you will, of each one of these battery packs. But that's 216 watt hours there. That's 216 watt hours here. So together, that's 432 watt hours. Well, if you looked at, we can do 108 here and 108 here. That's 216 watts out. You divide that. That's pretty easy division there. Multiplication, division. If you multiply this times 2, what do you get? Oh, wow, 432. So 2 hours. In 2 hours, this charger will have both of those 12.0 batteries if they were slap dead, so 0%, all the way up to 100% in 2 hours of time. By the way, I mentioned phones on these ports. This is an excellent place to charge your headlamps, your other Milwaukee lights. They have the USB Type-C charging ports because at the end of the day, you always want your lights recharged when you get back the next day. So again, great for charging your lights as well. So the new Gangbox charger is going to charge not only fast, but also be able to charge multiple batteries at the same time and then be able to go to the next one in line after that. Now, we would like to see the M12 ports be able to be accessed without having to take the place of the M18. However, we understand there's always going to be limitations on something. We love the fact that we have a light here. We also love the fact we have multiple mounting points with this. Now, pricing-wise, we've seen that this could be $299 or maybe $329. We see the pricing right now labeled at $329 on like Home Depot, Acme Tools, that sort of thing. We also have seen some pricing that may be $299. But anyway, it's going to be in that $299 to $329 range. So be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even TikTok. If you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And by all means, if you hated our video, well, give us a thumbs down. But let us know in the comments why. Have a great day and keep smiling.